live, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a show, and here we are listening to clapping and cheering.
Yes, they were clapping and cheering because we're live, sir. We are alive and on the air right now with Podbean.com. I'm still not exactly in love with their live stream function, but what the hell, right? It's free. We like free, mostly.
Yeah, I mean,
Mostly.
you know.
Hey, tonight's Corner to Corner is brought to you by Dubby Energy Drinks, Dubby.gg, DUBBY.gg. Go there right now. Use the coupon code C2C Radio. Get yourself a shot of energy with Dubby Energy Drinks. These guys are our official sponsors. And hey, you got some really great flavors here for you to check out. You got Beach and Peach, Mango White Peach Cooler. You got Dragonade, Dragon Fruit and Pink Strawberry with Lemonade. And then, of course, you've got Dub Sludge. This is something I just saw today. Dub Sludge, which is Granny Smith Apple, and, Brian, you'll love this, Secret Sauce.
No,
Get yourself 10% off. Get yourself 10% off right now. Head to w.gg for all your energy drink needs. And we do have more, believe it or not, we do have more energy drink sponsors lined up. So if Dubby
that's
doesn't
cool.
deliver, guess who we
And,
got back behind?
and listen, Dubby needs to deliver because I'd
That's
love
right.
to be able to tell the fans how good the second one tastes. I'm not touching the last one. No,
You're
no.
not going to touch the Dub Sludge.
No.
Dragonade sounds actually pretty good.
It does sound pretty good.
Beach and Peach sounds okay. Galaxy Grenade, which is the one I read off last week, watermelon, guava, and lime. That actually could be
That could
kind of
be
good.
interesting.
Yeah,
That could
that
be
could be
interesting.
all right. So we're live, and boy, oh boy, Brian, we got a shit ton of stuff to talk about. It's corner to corner time. If you're listening to us live right now, it's through podbean.com or c2cradioshow.com. Thanks again for listening. My name is Stan Grubb. My tag team partners, as always, Brian Taylor is with us. Rob will be here with us shortly. He is
When he
on
sobers up.
location. Yeah, when he's done mooching free drinks from the bar.
Wow. All right, so
Oh,
you got to leave. We got to save me just a little bit of time
okay.
because I mean, you know how I love Facebook, and you know how I love reading comments and finding
Oh God.
pure wrestling dipshits,
Yes.
fans. That is.
No,
Well, I
you said it right.
I found a doozy
Oh,
today.
really? Can't wait. Was it better than the one that we had yesterday or the day before?
Oh, this so all right. So look, man, I'm just gonna do it. If you'll indulge me just a minute or two,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
we're not gonna go long with this, right? So they were discussing Vince McMahon, right? This hot topic. I'm sure we'll get to discussing that here shortly.
We'd be
And
stupid if we didn't.
right. So you know what's truly amazing is like half of the group or half of the people are like, you know, he needs to be punished for what he did, right? And that's probably coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other half are still praising him like this is some god, even though you know he screwed up royally. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he may not have gone to court, but there's no doubt, like, there, you know, something's going to come of this.
Right.
So, what was funny is as I'm reading, I'm just scrolling through, and again, I'm not really taking a side until I get to this one dipshit. And he's trying to say that pro wrestling would not be an international powerhouse, not just the WWE, but pro wrestling in general, would not be international without Vince McMahon.
The
Right
entire
now, again,
industry wouldn't be international.
yes, because his thing was, well, in the '80s, pro wrestling was a Southern thing, and you know they knew about the Von Erichs and you know Memphis, but nobody else in the whole world knew who the hell the Von Erichs and the Freebirds were, right? And so now I'm intrigued. I'm like, whoa, look at this. We got a winner. This is a dipshit
Mm.
right here. And so then you had a guy from Ireland. He's like, look, bud, I'm here to tell you that my mom, her favorite wrestler was Vern Gagne. And she knew who the Freebirds were. And
I
she
call
knew who
bullshit.
the
Nobody
Von
likes
Erichs
Vern.
were. Well, I mean, but yeah, I mean, think about it. In the '80s, so which means she might have been watching from the '60s. So it's possible, right? Vern was a big name. He was a big draw back then. It's
Yeah.
possible. So anyway, they proceed to get into this little argument back and forth where this guy is just standing firmly up on this hill that he wants to die on. That nobody from any other country knew who any other wrestler was in any other country. Right? I mean, that was the whole point of this kid's argument, right? Like, if you were a wrestler in Japan, nobody else in any other country knew who you were, especially in the United States. And if you were a wrestler in the United States, nobody in any other country knew who the hell you were.
Hmm. That's
And sometimes I'm like, I would just love. I need to get me a what do you call them names? Like when artists or like writers, a pseudonym.
a
No,
pseudonym. Yeah, yeah,
is that it?
yep. Well, an
Yeah, I need to
assumed
get.
name.
Yeah, I need to get me one of those. I need to get me a fake account and do nothing but troll wrestling websites and just start calling people dipshits. Like, you got to be the dumbest idiot in the world to crawl up on the nobody knows who any other wrestlers are.
Hmm.
You know, are you mad? Like, nobody in the '70s knew who anybody from Japan was. We didn't know who Canadian stars were, Mexican stars, or over in the UK. They never crossed over. No companies ever went abroad, or there weren't wrestling magazines to inform you of this. And oh, what did we do back in the '80s? Oh, we traded tapes. I'm pretty sure upstairs I have what is it, King of the Death Match somewhere
Hmm.
from like the '80s, early '90s, or whatever it was.
Right.
No, God, I just can't believe that, like, how people can be so stupid when it comes to this. Like,
I
I
mean,
forget that you're protecting McMahon,
hmm
but let's not forget the whole world can look at this and be like, oh, what a dipshit.
well, I mean, these are the same types of folks that go like, Chris Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame. Well, had he not, killed his family and then himself, he probably would be.
Mm-hmm.
You can't look. It just comes back to this, and I think that you said it best. And it's a dipshit, not a fan, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's revisionist history for one, because as much of a WWE fan as I was my entire childhood, I would never go so far as to say it was all WWF, because that's not the truth. I mean, you've got so much stuff happening outside of that. You said tape trading. There's that, but there's also the fact that the UK had a huge wrestling presence. So if it wasn't Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania, it would have been Big Daddy and the other famous stars and athletes overseas. Japan, I mean, come on, Antonio Inoki. Has anybody not heard that name? I'm pretty sure we all have.
What was
It,
it? The Giant Baba?
yeah, yeah. I mean, so I while I understand the desire to protect somebody that you kind of idolize, because I think that's probably where that fan was coming from. Let's also not forget that he's an absolute garbage human being, and this is coming from somebody that spent, like I said, my childhood a WWF WWE fan. I mean, there's no disregarding what Vince McMahon Jr. did for professional wrestling and sports entertainment. You can't. But at the same time, there's also no point in going ignorant like that and saying, "Oh, well, they never would have did." No, that's not true. Because if it
Right.
wasn't Vince, it would have been somebody else.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
Vince just
fact of
happened to
the
be the
matter
guy that
is,
was at the right place, right time, in some of that.
yeah, but the fact of the matter is, it wrestling was already international. Vince
Right,
had
that's true.
nothing to
Right.
do with that.
Yes,
He had
correct, correct.
absolutely nothing to do with international wrestling. I mean, if you don't believe me, why don't you find out how long it actually took them to do a show overseas?
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure the NWA did it first and did it
Right,
multiple times. I believe Bischoff probably did it before, um, or may have been a part of the show or whatever before Vince and them really got into doing anything super
right.
overseas.
I think what kills me is that people they want so desperately for everyone to believe their narrative. And we've encountered this for not just recently, but just a lot lately. But overall, the course of time we've been doing this show, people want so badly for their narrative to be right, and they forget that while we're all passionate people and have our own beliefs, the facts are just that, the facts. You can't hide them. You know, the Crockett's would have taken NWA worldwide had it not already been done. And by the way, the Crockett's probably would have done it better as far as taking it from that fan's perspective, taking a US based product and then making it global.
Well, yeah, but
It's
I'm
just
I'm
simply a
pretty
factor
sure
of timing, in my opinion.
I'm pretty sure that the NWA did take it global because I bet you if you go back and look, Flair probably defended that title in other
Hmm.
countries. You know, if you were to go back and look at his, long list of matches,
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably did defend it even overseas.
Hmm.
Like, there's no doubt that fans back then knew who international stars were.
Right.
You just got to be a dipshit to think otherwise.
And
And
that's
Vince
what
Mc,
floors
oh, go
me
ahead.
about that. No, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that's what floors me is because like how a fan could say that is just very, very selective in what they're choosing to believe. I mean, not just revisionist, that's just extremely selective.
Yeah, but then why would you argue with the guy in Ireland or whatever it was
Right,
who
right.
says his mother knew? Like, who are you to tell this kid, tell this guy what his mom watched? You out your mind? You think they didn't have cable TV back then?
Hmm.
You think I couldn't watch on ESPN 7 or 8 different wrestling programs Monday through
Hmm.
Friday? Yeah. All right, anyway, enough with the dipshits.
Yeah, it's wow. That floors me.
I will
Uh,
show you though. I did take screenshots of the conversation. So later or sometime I'll show you.
we
It's
should put
crazy.
a section on the site called "Dipshit of the Week."
We've talked about that. I can't run the site. I'm not that good with it. All you have to do is like black out the names. This is the one thing I ask.
Oh,
Just black the names out. Let's not cause this kid any further grief.
undue stress or trauma.
Yeah.
So, I mean, damn, Brian, what do you want to talk about? It's not like we have anything else wrestling news wise to talk about. Nothing else is. Oh, wait, yeah, there's
Mm,
this whole thing that Vince McMahon is gone. There's that.
gone,
There's Ring
gone.
of Honor,
Yeah.
which was a tremendous pay per view from start to finish. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
catch 0 hour, so I didn't see the pre show. If you caught that, I'll have you kind of go over that.
I
Um,
did.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's start with the Ring of Honor pay per view, and then we'll cover Vince. All, of course, right now while this is happening, WWE Raw is live from Madison Square Garden, and
Wait a
Theory.
second. Did they?
Go ahead.
Oh, it was Theory. Oh, I was gonna say, did they do the customary Triple H, Stephanie, and whoever else are in the ring? It's a new era. We're gonna do better than the last one. You're gonna
You guys are in
see.
charge now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
No, they open it up with a fight, a pull apart between Miz and Logan Paul,
Oh
and
wow.
then they come back from the video intro, and then out comes the bloodline. So Roman Reigns is now going toe to toe with Theory on the mic, which Roman should
Really?
thank. He should thank John Cena for teaching him how to use the microphone. By the way, In theory, he should probably just retire. It's over
Yeah,
now.
but if I'm Roman and I got Paul, I don't need to talk. Let Paul talk. You know what I'm saying? Until he like makes me mad enough there, I just take it from Paul. Let Paul do most of the heavy lifting there.
Well, I guess he didn't feel like he had to because I can't hear everything he's saying. I don't even have the closed captioning up. I'm not that concerned about it. But I'm watching oh wow. So apparently that's messed up. So Roman says to Theory, your daddy isn't here anymore. Damn.
Mm.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well done, sir. You win the evening. So let's go ahead. We'll start with Ring of Honor because I mean that pay per view is awesome, and we definitely want to give it its due. We'll talk about the Vince news, Triple H taking over, all of that, and we'll go from there. So Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. Oh, oh, damn! Theory beating his ass. All right, Brian, you saw the pre-show. Let's start from there. How did 0 Hour go?
You got the match listings?
Yeah.
I'm
So
old.
let's see here.
I forget.
Well, this is all
I know
posted on the
Cheeseburger was on there.
Cheeseburger was there. What?
Yes.
All right, so ROH 0 Hour results. Give me 1 second while I pull that up. I know that Colt Cabana was there. I know that Tony Deppen performed. And I know that let's see here. Here we go.
You know, Colt's got quite an ROH following.
Well, I mean, Colt Cabana has a storied career. As much as I make fun of the guy and I'm not really a huge fan, I would be an idiot if I didn't acknowledge just what he's done. ROH for Colt Cabana is home. And he
Yeah.
has he really made his career there from the comedy, but also being able to prove that he could go with the best of them, including the likes of Samoa Joe, Nigel McGuinness, Caprice Coleman before he retired. You know, a lot of guys that are true in-ring professionals. But he apparently started us off with Anthony Henry, which hey, Anthony Henry is a huge get for Ring of Honor.
And a
That's a
friend of the
huge.
show.
Yep, that's right. Former guest of the show, former friend of the family, so to speak. So, Brian, your thoughts on Colt Cabana and Anthony Henry?
So I enjoyed it. It was I don't know. I guess I would. You kind of forget it's Ring of Honor, right? Because you got AEW attached to it, and so I was kind of expecting like a little bit of backdrop in this, but boom, we just go right in. I think Colt will thrive in AEW.
Agreed.
I think Henry is a nice get for AEW. Wasn't a bad match. It's not a bad match. Yeah, and again, you're gonna have to forgive me because I am old and I do forget things, and especially if I'm not really paying attention to it. But wasn't a bad way to start it for sure. Um, wasn't nothing really that kind of stuck with me as far as anything crazy or any moves. Colt does throw some decent elbows though, like some smooth elbows. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I really can't stand that he does is that stupid bounce out of the corner. Like he tries to make it look like he's a cartoon character, and then he hits the corner, bounces out, and rushes over for his. I mean, the elbow itself is solid. I agree with you, but I hate the whole comedy thing. I don't like it.
Well, yeah, but you're not really an ROH guy.
That's not true. That's not
That
true.
is
I'm just
true.
not a
You've only
fan of the
watched one
comedy.
pay per view. Yeah, you've only
Bull
watched one
crap!
pay per view.
Oh, I've watched more Ring of Honor than you have. I can almost promise
Oh,
you.
you have?
Oh, I
How?
have.
You have? You have?
Uh huh. Except for the
Prove it.
6 hours you watched in TV taping.
Prove it.
That's a long ass time to sit down and watch wrestling. I mean, I love wrestling. That's a long time.
I got pictures.
I got sores in my ass from the seats. Do you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, so there,
I forgot butt imprinted cushions.
back it wasn't like well ventilated, so you can see in the pictures, like my daughters. By the end of the night, my wife and daughter are sweating and they're all rosy cheeked from being in there for 6 hours.
You sitting there
Anyway,
with all the
so
beards too, all stinking.
yeah, it wasn't a bad way to start the show.
Now,
And
next up,
oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say Rigabani and Caprice. They're pretty smooth on the mic.
Yeah,
They're a good
that
announce team.
they are very, very good. I
Mhm.
can't say enough about him because Riccaboni he's actually the commentator for um, Retromania.
Hmm.
Yeah, him and Colt Cabana.
Very nice.
So we go from Colt Cabana making his return to Ring of Honor. By the way, joining us live, Rob Hefner. What's up, Rob?
What's up, fellers?
Did you get your fifth one in before you got up to the room, buddy?
No, just had to get food.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm jealous, man. If I would have known, I'd have been following you. Shinobi, Shadow Squad, Cheeseburger, and
Free is
Eli.
free, man.
Hey, free is free. Cheeseburger and Eli. Is it Isom? I hope that's Isom because if I just mispronounced his name, I feel bad. Versus the Trust Busters, Ari Davari and Slim J. Brian, people swear up and down that Slim J was in TNA way, way, way back when. Is that true? Because I don't remember him.
I don't remember him either. But I mean, it's like his ring gear does kind of harken back to like an older period. So I guess it's possible.
So, because I didn't see 0 Hour, you got to help me out. Was he dressed like an Eminem kind of clone?
Well, he kind of had like the shiny pants, and I think he had like a hat that was off to the side or something.
Oh, okay. I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that the Trust Busters get the victory here. Um, I don't know a whole lot about either team outside of I know who Cheeseburger is. I love the name, by the way, Shinobi Shadow Squad.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know who Davari is.
I do, from the Cruiserweight Classic, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then we saw him in Maryland Championship Wrestling.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah.
Damn, look at you. Good
And
pull.
then I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Wasn't he at Nova Pro? Or is that Sandwich?
no, maybe it was Nova, not Maryland. Yeah, I think it was Nova. Yeah, Rob's right. It was Nova.
I think we've seen both him and Sanjay at Nova before.
Yes.
Yeah, Sanjay,
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the Trustbusters are the hot thing going on Dark right now. I think it's them. And they got that one dude that was supposed to be the next Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, Harland. I don't know what he's
Yeah.
called now.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
Boudreaux,
called
Marco
Harlan.
Boudreaux. There we go.
Yeah, he's not called Harlan. So,
That's a stupid name from Bad Creative.
Yeah. But I think if I'm not mistaken, the three of them are together.
Okay.
I think, don't quote me, but apparently, and like they're high on them. So I think that's why you saw on Friday night Arya Davari has his own little promo. You know, he's coming or coming soon or whatever. So
Now this match, I'm reading this off of Ring of Honor's website, ROHWrestling.com. Apparently, this match was pretty quick. It was over before it started.
yeah, it didn't take long that I remember because they actually I think 4 matches were in there. I think could be wrong.
No, you're right. You're right because
Yeah.
we also had Allison Kay and Willow Nightingale.
That
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that wasn't bad. I was kind of shocked about Willow, but because God, she's quite over.
Yeah, Willow Nightingale is very good. I really like what she brings to the table. She does great on AEW. And I think honestly, putting her in Ring of Honor with the Women of Honor division is a smart idea. I think that's really
What
good.
was that where she was before though? When she
So I thought she was. Didn't she wrestle at Supercard of Honor? I could have swore she
Might
was part of
have.
the triple threat for the title.
Yeah, she might have.
Unless I'm
Ah,
just getting it back.
she got an infectious smile though.
Just
She just
just
doesn't stop smiling.
the personality, the way she
Yeah.
moves in the ring, you can tell that she has a lot of polish to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be something that they need in the locker room. I am surprised that Allison Kay didn't win that.
Yeah, so am I, and because that's what I was getting ready to say. I was shocked that Willow won,
Mm-hmm.
right, over Allison.
Right.
But it makes sense, right? You know that she would win. Although I would like to see, and maybe they can develop this somewhere down the line. Like she just has this hidden, like evil streak. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
you push her too hard, she'll break you. In Willow.
Well, and Willow, when she finally does turn heel, and I think she will at some point, she's going to really have the complete package there.
Yeah, yeah, I like Willow.
So we go to the first bit of controversy of the night, and I purposely did this out of order because this matchup will lead to the open of the pay per view, and this also leads to the biggest story coming out of it. So we go to the backstage area. Lexi Nair is there with Prince Nana, who we haven't seen in ages. But he advises because his family is rich that he has purchased Tully Blanchard Enterprises. So the embassy is back, and so is Prince Nana. That is a big get because he was great in Ring
Hmm.
of Honor before.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of like when it happened, you're kind of like, well, wait a second, what, what just happened? And then of course you
Mm-hmm.
find out, that his contract wasn't renewed or whatever, that he's left or whatever.
Yeah,
So, but again, it does make sense, which is okay with me. So, although
the
I'm not quite sure how Cage is going to play in on this.
Well, and that's the first part. I read today that Brian Cage has been extremely vocal in just stating that he's done everything in his power to get himself back on television and to show that he brings something big to the table. But apparently, there are specific individuals that he did not name that have voiced their concern and basically kept them off TV, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see that. If done right, this could be.
Hmm.
This could lead to bigger and better things for him. But um, yeah, I'm not quite sure why he's not on TV.
And he could easily be the front man for the embassy. Like he could
Hmm.
easily be the leading guy.
Well, I mean, since they're now one short, I guess it'd be a whole lot
which leads
easier
us
for
to
him.
the which leads us to the open of the pay-per-view. An interesting turn of events puts us in a position where Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor actually starts with the World Championship match to really lead us off. Claudio Castagnoli challenges Jonathan Gresham for the championship. Gresham comes to the ring in, well, a little different. No octopus head, no, glaring kind of entrance, just all business to the ring. The match itself was actually very good. Um, and I saw your comments in the C2C chat. I agree with you. Gresham's the man. I mean, I don't think there's any
Hmm.
other way to put it. He's just great in the ring, and so is Claudio. This was a great match.
Yeah, but I mean, Gresham is just he's like butter. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like that
Yeah.
guy's just so smooth. And I mean, I would imagine he's probably one of the top 5 technical wrestlers on the planet right now.
Hmm.
And I mean, he's just absolutely, without a doubt, one of the smoothest guys that I've laid eyes on in years.
Hmm. Very indicative of how he's been trained and what he does with his students. No wasted motion. He is one of those guys where he transitions very well from one hold to another, and of course, working with a guy like Claudio, it's almost guaranteed this match is going to be good, in my opinion, and it definitely turned out to be a good one. We would find out after the result of the match that Gresham may actually be done, which is alarming. We'll go through that here in just a moment. Claudio Castagnoli really comes out and is on fire from beginning to end. William Regal, by the way, on commentary continues to be tremendous. Um, I'm thinking to myself that, Regal on commentary was an untapped resource just about everywhere he's been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whether it's Dynamite, ROH pay per view,
Yep.
like it's almost like he enhances the other commentators.
Yes. Yes. I love how when he's doing commentary on Dynamite, he always calls Excalibur "Man with the Mask," Mr. Ross, Mr. Schiavone. Like I like that he does that. It's a very unique style that he brings to the table, and it just you have credibility instantly because it's William Regal. I mean, how do you not?
Right. I
So
agree.
we get to the end. It's a Ricola bomb, and we've got a new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, Claudio Castagnoli. And in the process of this, Claudio coming away with the title, which is huge all by itself. We find out last night, last night that there was a confrontation with Tony Khan and Jonathan Gresham, where Gresham curses Tony Khan out and basically says, "I want out of my contract."
Oh, hold on. I had to drink some water. Yeah, my throat might be getting parched over this one.
Aha.
By chance, does your water have some energy powder in it?
No.
See, his throat would be feeling better if perhaps he had some of that W energy drink. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is what we're doing now.
That's what we're doing now. Got to get that money. Coupon code C2C Radio. Get 10% off your order today.
So, but to me, it's kind of weird because I'm pretty sure there was a episode of Dark or something that was taped where he came to the ring without the title,
Mm-hmm.
the ROH title. I don't think he had the octopus mask. And I'm not sure if that was before the pay per view or supposed to air after the pay per view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I read before going on air is that he was kind of upset because there was no story build up, and supposedly they didn't talk to him, and whether he passed ideas up the chain and they didn't, whatever. The story didn't really get in that, but it was almost like he wanted a story build up for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, I'm not, with if this Dark episode is taped to be played after this pay per view, then he knew it was coming, right? And sometimes these things happen without real story build up, right? I think the Rock and Roll Express did it to the Russians, like after a promo, like, "Hey, we're coming to the NWA," and then that night they showed them on TV beating the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes that happens. Sometimes the bookers think that's the way to go, and it may not necessarily be the way to go, right?
Yeah, I think the larger concern is the part that he was allowing to get leaked to the media, and that was the concern about communication between the sides. And
But
Gresham's not the first guy that's made that kind of a comment.
But again, though, here's the thing about communication, right? Do you think Vince talks
Mm-hmm.
to everybody, or do they have to go
Well, I
through
Talk to
mean,
certain
nobody right now.
stooges?
hopefully he's just talking to himself in a mirror
But
right
again,
now.
did
Yeah, but in the
Vince
past,
talk
no,
to
I don't think he
everybody?
did. No, no.
Okay, so it's much like UCW. Does Dave talk to everybody?
No, no. As a matter of fact, it gets
Does
filtered through you, me, Rob, Diego. Yeah, there's a lot of places it has to go through first.
right? And so that's probably the setup for everywhere, right? Now, just because there was no line of communication between Tony and Gresham, that doesn't mean no direct line. That doesn't mean that they weren't communicating back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
through agents or whatever, right? Because I guess that's how you do it, in big time wrestling.
Big time. It's in the
But
big time.
but again, though, we also have to remember that this has kind of happened before, right?
Mm-hmm.
With certain people, not too long ago, in a different Fed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just because you want to build up and they're not going to give you a build up, it doesn't really mean to take your ball and go home.
That's the thing. Like people build this stuff up, like, oh my God, Gresham did this. And in fact, you see it everywhere. Like no matter where someone's gonna go, there's gonna be those people that are just unhappy with anything.
Well, but the build up would have been for the rematch,
Right.
right? Where Gresham and the Embassy go after Claudio, and Claudio's got the Blackpool Combat Club, and we'd have had us a nice old row in ROH,
Mm-hmm.
leading up to Gresham possibly getting the title back. But no, we're like, wow, there's no build up. And there's no communication. Which again, if this dark episode airs after the pay-per-view, I don't think you needed much more communication than that. Because again, the reports are he did not have the ROH title on him.
Mm-hmm.
How many times does a champion film a match to be aired later and not have a title? Oh, it comes when you've lost the title.
Right.
So if this is supposed to air, let's say it's supposed to air Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? He ain't got no title. Guess what it means? He knew he was going to lose.
And there are people that want to build something out of nothing.
Well, but it gave him the opportunity to say, well, let me come up with some excuse. I lost the title. I don't think I should lose the title. I'm out of here. I'm not saying he should have lost the title. I think he should have kept the title. But it could be a little sour grapes going on here.
See, that's what my thought process is. One, I think I agree with you. I would have probably kept the title on him. I wouldn't have put Claudio in that position, though. I would have put somebody else as his challenger. Not that I don't like Claudio winning. I do. I like Claudio as champ, and I think that makes good sense, especially if he's the face of the brand. Which, why not, right? I mean, you got a homegrown Ring of Honor talent, literally a homegrown talent. And that's one of those situations where it makes perfect sense. At the same time, Gresham comes out looking like, well, he's all business headed to the ring. There's no real entrance to it. So to me, immediately, just like we've learned in the past when somebody's got the boo-boo face when they're coming to the ring, something's a little weird. But you don't really know what, because the match itself plays out wonderfully. Like there's no stiff or sandbagging or anything stupid. It's a great match. It's the after effect, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it's sour grapes. I think he openly gets in this argument where people can hear, so that when he leaves, he can say, "Yep, that's what it was." The difference is, like with guys that claimed it was communication in the past, for example, Joey Janela and Marco Stunt. Well, let's take a look at who we're talking about: Joey Janela and Marco Stunt. Do you feel the need to talk to them? Absolutely not. And why would you?
Yeah, but
Because they're not bringing anything to your bottom line.
yeah,
Gresham,
but
on the other hand, had it been done right, could have brought money to you.
sure, but Janela and Marco, I'm pretty sure the lack of communication was that they were letting them sit till their contract expired.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So me, Tony Khan, doesn't have to talk to you at all.
Mm-hmm.
I can just let you sit. And I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to sit there and tell you, well, I'm not going to re-sign you,
Mm-hmm.
because then, oh my God, can you imagine what the little dipshits on the internet would have said?
Especially if you're not taking the initiative to try to actually get in the ring, which both Marco and Janela admitted that they didn't do, which is so stupid to me, but whatever.
I mean, it's the same stuff we hear all the time.
Right.
On the other side, oh my God, the E doesn't use these people. How dare them? They let them sit there. They have these people under contract, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, you know what? You're under contract. If I don't have anything for you to do or don't want anything for you to do, I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I can either pay you and put you out there, or I can just let you sit there. And I'm going to let you sit there.
Well, and I think the overall point here, before this goes too much longer, is really the point here is that I don't think that Tony Khan necessarily did anything wrong. The story itself was that Gresham was unhappy with how it was presented, but at the same time, to Brian's point, I think at the end of the day, it really comes off as just sour grapes.
Well, that's anything. I mean,
Yeah.
you get the people like, oh, well, I didn't want to do that. Okay. That just makes you look bad
Mm-hmm.
because business is business.
Hmm.
You
Well,
know?
I mean, maybe we can hope that, this is all a put on.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Yeah.
who knows? But maybe he'll join MJF, and you know what I'm saying? Who knows, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Him,
But
MJF, and Ryback all waiting for the Vince call.
no, 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 no. Let's not get crazy here.
Ryback is still waiting even today.
There was a damn sign in the crowd that said Ryback sucks. Why would you take a Ryback sign to a Ring of Honor show?
Who
Come on.
knows? All right, what's
Well, the
next?
first problem is that they actually wrote a Ryback sign. So
Yeah, that's true. Problem number one. All right, next up was the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championship. The Righteous, Bateman, Dutch, and Vincent against Dalton Castle and the boys. Damn, this was a fun match to watch. And
Mhm.
Dalton Castle, what a smart move to get him back on the roster.
Yeah, I like Dalton Castle. He's fun to watch. Like his whole presentation
Mm-hmm.
is is fun to watch. So
Line of the night, by the way, comes from this match. Caprice Coleman says, Jesus turned water into wine.
yeah,
Dalton Castle is reproducing the boys.
yeah. And for those that didn't watch, right, there's really not. I mean, so it was a very solid match, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the highlight of the match, right, is the boys, and Dalton Castle would throw one out of the ring. Oh, because he did like the four sides of it. He threw
Yeah.
one out one side, and then the second guy would come in and he'd throw him out the opposite side. Then the first guy would get back in and he'd go outside three. And by that time, the other one's back in, he goes outside four. And they did it like, I don't know, maybe 8 times. And you're like, what in the world are we doing here?
It was
So, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
And it was
it was,
fast. So it wasn't
yeah,
like you blink, you missed it. It was really fast.
yeah.
Um, by the way, the guy that I'm not sure. I think it's Bateman, but he's absolutely gigantic, and maybe it's Dutch, but he looks
Isn't
just
it?
like
I think
Big
that's
Bubba
Dutch.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, this guy's amazing, and he has a huge future.
Oh well, I mean the group as a whole has a huge future,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
the Righteous is definitely good.
Yeah, and something tells me like these 6-man titles are
Hmm.
probably not going to be exclusive to ROH.
That would be the smart way to do it. If you're Tony Khan, yes, you've been looking at trios titles, but why not just have it go back and forth?
Well, yeah, just simply remove the ROH and
Yeah.
just make the 6-man title,
Hmm.
because there's so
Hmm.
many 6-man factions out there. I don't even, what would you even call a triple, a trio? I don't know.
I would
There's
just keep
so
it
many.
trios title. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just trios or
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
I
but
know
what
what you're
I'm
asking. What do you call that? A triad?
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? There's so many teams
Yeah.
of 3 out there that
Hmm.
you really should kick that off because you can have a lot of fun with that title.
Oh yeah. And once Omega's back,
Mm-hmm.
which I hear is not too far from now. Whew. Next up, we get the pure title match. Now, I'm still pissed because I've only seen this match in part. I want to just point out that I absolutely cannot stand my cable provider. It was an absolute nightmare to get this event on my television, and I couldn't stay up past 2:30 Sunday morning to watch the rest. I was just so wore out. So I ended up seeing half of the pure title match between Yuta and Daniel Garcia, but the half I saw was freaking phenomenal. So I can
Mm-hmm.
only assume that the first half was great.
Yeah, this match to me shows that the future is in safe hands with these two
Yes, very
guys.
much so. Yeah.
Yeah, like the entire business is in very good hands with these two guys. Um, now I don't have the list of the pure title rules in front of me, but
I
um,
was just about to ask you if you knew that.
well, I know like an open hand slap is okay to the face, but the punch is not. And I think you can't grab the ropes or something. Um,
Here's the rules.
all right.
Competitors divided into two blocks. It's single elimination. Round one matches have 15 minutes. Oh, that was for the actual tournament. Here we go.
Yeah.
The match rules as follows. It begins and ends with the code of honor handshake. You have 3 rope breaks to stop submission holds and pinfalls. After those are exhausted, any submission or pin attempt on or under the ropes are legal. I love
Yeah.
that, by the way. Closed fist punches to the face are not permitted, only open hand slaps. The
Right.
first use of closed fist gets a warning, second is a DQ. 20-minute time limit, outside interference, and results in an automatic termination from the roster for the wrestler that interferes. I love that. That's cool. It means you're guaranteed to get a finish on this match. So even better.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm sure there's probably been one or two of these where there's been some outside interference.
Oh,
I
and I'm
can't,
sure there's shenanigans involved somewhere.
yeah. I'm trying to remember I don't remember who the 3 judges were. One of them was the
Uh,
guy that held the pure title before Yuta.
mm-hmm.
I don't remember who the other 2 were.
Josh Woods, and then the other 2 guys, I don't know who they were.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was a good match. It was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was exactly what you expect out of these two. Like, yeah, to me, like Yuta, you've seen Yuta improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
From when he first started to now, it's like night and day. You're like, you can really get behind this guy. But with Daniel Garcia, he's hidden in the Jericho Appreciation Society. Maybe they'll kick him out on Wednesday. I don't know. Maybe we can get lucky.
Oh,
But like that guy can wrestle.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and he is absolutely hidden
Yeah.
by being trapped in this society. It was a mistake to put him in there, even though the "I'm a sports entertainer too" comment made that whole segment. I
Hmm.
still think he just shouldn't be in it.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and then I mean, and the other thing is too, you have Regal back on commentary,
right.
and you know Regal when it comes to Yuta on the mic is like he's like a coach. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You know, he's like, yeah, let him get his tail whooped. It's it's how he picks himself up that is going to make him a part of the BCC. You know,
Right.
he's got to be able to take a ass whooping, but let's see him get up and dish it out. You know,
Now,
so
will they do the same thing for him and make him fight Mox before he can get in?
who?
Garcia.
No, I mean I don't know if they'll take him in, but I would try and distance him from uh, Jericho. Even if he just was like, you know what, I'm done with y'all. I'm going to do my own thing, and
Hmm.
he just was out there as a single competitor and just out wrestled everybody. I would be okay with that.
So, following Wheeler Yuta retaining, which again, this match was great. The half I saw of it was absolutely great.
Mm-hmm.
Battle of the Brothers, Roosh and Dragon Lee. This match was kind of a little bit of everything. A little hard hitting, a little bit of lucha libre. But what I really liked was the fake out with the bull's horns. So the first time he gets ready to hit him in the corner, and then he stops and just does a kick, which still was brutal. And then the next time he does it, he had played possum,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just it just the finish played out so nicely. It was cool.
Listen, so I bought the possum like hook, line, and sinker.
I can believe that. I mean, it was so well done.
Yeah, when he kind of crumbles down, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, because like like they all stop for a second, like, what? Is he okay?
yeah.
Yeah, I bought it. I was like, oh my god, this dude's dead. Roosh is dead. You
Well, I mean,
know?
they had been hitting each other with everything that
Yeah.
entire time. So, like, when you finally get to that moment, it's like, oh well, he's out cold. Plus, I mean, we've had so many injuries happen in the span of like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit, not Roosh. Don't be
Yeah.
Roosh. Come on, man.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, it's been a long time since I bought the possum like that. I mean, I bought it so bad I was actually frying it up on my stove. You know what I'm saying? I was like, ready. This possum's dead. We're gonna fry this up and eat this now. And then he pops back up and it's like, son of a, you got me.
All right, so it's 8:53. I gotta make sure I know when to isolate that soundbite. I mean, it was well done. It was
No,
really
yeah, it
well
was
done,
great.
and honestly, I'd forgotten this match was on the card. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, still kind of getting over the fact that I had missed half of the pure title match, and then they announced, coming to the ring with Jose. I'm like, wait, what? Like, oh
Mhm.
hell yes, this is gonna be cool. So I mean, it blew me away.
But
Um,
I will say,
go ahead.
I guess I was kind of in the same boat that I kind of forgot because leading up to this, when they would mention brother versus brother,
Uh huh.
you know, every time it'd be like, wait a second, what two brothers are going at it?
The
You
Hardys,
know
the
what I'm
Hard.
saying?
Oh wait, no, it's not
Well,
them.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
for whatever reason, it was just the one match that you just forgot was on there, and maybe
Yeah.
it's because the other matches, but dude, that was a good match too. And you're right, they did lucha libre. There was strong style. There was pro wrestling. There was possum fake out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never gonna forget the possum fake out.
No, you can't, because those are the moments that you remember. Like, everything else in that match, which was good, but everything else in that match could have been complete trash. And you get to that finish, you're like, oh, that ain't
Yeah,
right.
he got me. Cut me, Mick.
Damn it.
Cut me.
So the one thing I love that Tony Khan does, I don't care what anybody says about the guy, he knows how to pace a card. He does
Mm.
so good with doing this, because he goes right from there to women's world title match. Serena Deeb and Mercedes Martinez. Thank you, God, for letting Serena Deeb finally have a good showing. Oh
What,
my God.
what do you mean? Finally, have a good showing?
I'm sorry, she bores the shit out of me on AEW.
Yeah, but
She just, ugh,
I don't
no, she
understand
just
why
bores
though.
me.
She normally beats the piss out of everybody.
But that's just it. She does and she doesn't. Like, it's so delayed. Mercedes Martinez just had a certain pacing to her where
Hmm.
Deeb just couldn't sit still. Like, she had to move with her, and that was what made this match good. Because usually Deeb is just like, remember when she wrestled Sky Blue? She literally sits on Sky Blue and, like you said, beats the shit out of her. She wrestled Sheeta. Well, what did she do to Sheeta? This is why it pissed me off. She basically sits on Sheeta and then starts beating her ass. Like, and I get it. That's her technique. That's her style, is the ground and pound, but it's boring as hell to watch. Like, I don't want to watch that. But she didn't have a choice on this one, because we got just a great, very competitive match between both sides. So, Oh, they're really telegraphing the Dominic Mysterio turn, by the way. Anyway, don't forget tonight is the 20th anniversary of Rey Mysterio.
Oh, even better. Yep, it's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
Dom's going to Judgment Day today.
Yep,
I'm
book
telling
him.
you.
Book it.
But yeah, I mean, I really liked this match. Again, great showing from
Don't get under. Who
Dean.
cares?
Well, I didn't say anybody would care. Let's not go too far.
I will say though that I thought this was Mercedes' best showing in AEW/ROH.
Yes. This is the best match she's had, and quite frankly, probably the best match she's had in a few years as far as how she was booked in WWE as well.
Yeah, I could see that too. So, but I am glad though because again, she is a big name,
Yes,
right?
and
She
she's
was,
finally getting her just due.
yeah, she was a major name before going to the WWE, and I'm glad now she's finally hitting her stride again.
Well, and you said it before with Yuta and Garcia that the future's in good hands. The women's division is in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is not Serena Deeb's only title shot. I think she does ultimately become women's champion either in AEW or Ring of Honor. Willow Nightingale, Allison Kay, and if you're smart, if you're Tony Khan's smart, then Gianna Perrazzo is on the horizon.
Well, and then don't forget the rumor of a certain former WWE star who was out with a neck injury for the longest time.
Let me tell you what, if she ended up, if Saraya can find her way into AEW or Ring of Honor, that's a huge get. And if she's healthy, oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
huge. And
but to
you
me,
got to give it a shot.
yeah, even if she's not healthy, her mere presence,
Yeah.
I think, helps that division.
Well, and if you have her with the right people around her too, she could even lead a faction in a major way. And why not have a women's faction?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a strong division, put a faction together and do it.
Well, Jade's got a faction.
Yeah. And AEW's women's division it has potential, but needs a lot of help.
Yeah, I'd get her
Well, she
mom
said
involved too.
herself that she said herself that she's not done in the ring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to
Well,
run one more time at least.
yeah, and I think that her case is similar to that of Brian Danielson's. That WWE just wasn't willing to go that extra step and take that risk versus her saying, "Look, I know that my body is good to go. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
wrestle." You know,
Right.
and I feel like, hey, this coming Wednesday, we'll see just how healthy is Brian Danielson because he's coming back, and I can't wait because guess who he's wrestling?
Who?
Danielson's got Daniel Garcia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we go from pure title to Brian Danielson for Garcia. What a week!
Mm.
What a few days for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Mercedes Martinez gets the Brass City Sleeper and the victory. We go from there to the Ring of Honor World TV title match. You know, I was not sure what they were going to do, and one thing I didn't want to see was Jay Lethal with the title again.
Why?
I just don't want to see the guy dominated the title division for like 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Some crazy number that like no other company has done in a good long time. Well, I just didn't want to see it, and because I feel like Samoa Joe isn't gonna be here much longer as far as actively in the ring, maybe another year or two. And I want to see him get a true run. And it's been so long since he's had a true run that
Impact? Maybe.
I don't. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's just. Well, I mean, if he was to go to Impact, I guess
No,
they
no.
would do it.
You
Oh,
said
you're talking
run.
about before.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
said
I
run.
mean,
Yeah.
obviously his run in Impact was good. I mean, you can't discount that. No, that's a good point. But I didn't want to see Jay Lethal come out with the title.
Oh man,
I didn't feel like it was going to be the right way to go, and I'm so glad that he didn't.
you just don't like Mr. Machismo.
I think that's it.
I think that's it too.
it's weird because I used to actually be a big Jay Lethal fan, and here lately I just like, no thanks.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him win.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lethal. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I like Jay. I even though, he was kind of rude at us at the ROH taping, but I'll forgive him. But I
Well,
like
you were there 6 hours. He'd been there for 10.
him. Probably.
Right. Meet and greet after meet and greet. He was tired.
Craft services was out of nachos.
Oh no, not the
Yeah.
nachos.
But yeah, he's another one like Gresham. He's just so smooth.
Yeah. And I think that if they keep this rivalry going, which I think they will, I think they'll let this go into a rematch, which I'm totally fine with. We've still got a tremendous amount of time to get Lethal in a different direction, either as champ or moving up to the world title, challenging Claudio, which would be a great match. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot more miles there.
Well, I agree with you. When they debuted Jay Lethal on All Elite, AEW, they're like, "Hey, Jay Lethal's here," and then it was a short time after that Tony Khan's like, "Oh, by the way, I bought ROH.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where you're going back to?" They're going back to ROH. So I agree with you, but I think he's awesome. So hey,
Yeah,
bring it on. He's going to beat up Ric Flair.
Oh God. I don't. Okay. Yeah, I'll save that for later. I was confused as to why the event itself, the pay-per-view, started with the world title match, Claudio and Jonathan Gresham. But as soon as I was reminded that it was going to be 2 out of 3 falls for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship, I knew exactly why they chose the main event. And goddamn, to quote Dax Harwood, motherfucker, I love pro wrestling. Because damn, we talked about it a few weeks ago, Brian, and I think we even did it last week. We weren't sure if they could possibly come close to touching, what they did the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And damn if they didn't do as much as they possibly could to make sure that we questioned whether or not this one was better.
God. I mean, so like I now have a DVR with 2 ROH pay-per-views that I can never delete. Right? Until I get the actual hard copies. I can't delete them.
Right.
Like for bookends. Yeah, so for both of their careers, right? This is what's truly amazing. Right? For the Briscoes' career and FTR's career, right? You could take those 2 matches and you could put one on the far left and one on the far right to be bookends. And all anybody really has to do is watch the bookends to be like, holy cow. These are without a doubt 2 of the greatest tag team matches I've ever witnessed. FTR is clearly in contention, along with the Briscoes, for tag team of all time. Because the Briscoes, don't get me wrong, they just don't show up for FTR. The Briscoes show up for whoever. And, what are they? 12 times ROH champions, and then any number of other champions, right? But, I mean, for anybody out there that wants to break into the business and wants to be a tag team wrestler, if you don't study the careers of these two tag teams, and again, before the first time you go to study, you watch the first match, and after it's all said and done, you've gone through however many matches you want to watch the one from Saturday night. You're crazy. You're missing an opportunity. I mean, without a doubt, 2 of the absolute greatest tag teams of all times, and you haven't seen these type of tag team matches since the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh yeah, Dynamite, British Bulldogs, and the Hart Foundation.
The Hart Foundation, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You have
that
not
was immediately
seen
what I thought of when I watched this one.
Yeah. I dare say you've not seen tag team matches like this. I mean, there have been others that have put on good tag team matches. the Young Bucks versus Adam Page and Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
But I dare say that match pales in comparison to these two matches.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like it's a distant third.
Yes,
Like
a
it's not
distance.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Briscoes have held the tag titles 12 times. It's
Mm-hmm.
clear to me that they could do it another 12. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're just that damn good. FTR, as of right now, the best damn tag team in professional wrestling. Period.
Yes. And what's truly amazing about this, right? What's truly amazing about this? Remember the first go round, the first match.
Mm-hmm.
Remember all the scuttlebutt. People in Warner Brothers don't want the Briscoes associated with AEW. They
Right.
don't want them signed with AEW. They don't want them this. They don't want them that. So they go to Impact, right? And
Right.
then not only do we find out that we are getting Briscoe's FTR2,
Mm-hmm.
but now we find out, no, they are now under contract, a lengthy contract with
Mm-hmm.
ROH, which means that the tag team division in ROH now has your cornerstone. You know what I'm saying? Like the Briscoes are now part of the future of ROH.
Right.
And with that signing alone, the tag team division looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It really is FTR's world, and all the other tag teams are living in it right now.
Oh yeah.
I can't give them enough praise because, frankly, we all knew what we were watching when we saw them as the Revival,
Mm-hmm.
and when they literally did everything but bury them with a literal shovel. Um, it was alarming to us. So when they get to AEW, we're like, oh, it's on. So they come out and they put on classic. They have great feuds, great promos. Then we really get introduced to them when they just kind of branch out. They get away from Tully Blanchard. They get away from the Pinnacle, and it's like, oh, these guys are on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see that the first time, like you said, against the Briscoes, Warner Media, they don't want the Briscoes. No, I think that's bullshit. I
I
think
think it
Warner
is too.
Media didn't know what they had
Right.
and wanted to make sure the Briscoes were there to be professional. And now that they know that, absolutely, sign them to a contract. Yeah, we don't care.
Well, so I don't know if they were really worried about like what type of antics they may have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that may have been the only real thing they knew about them,
Right.
right? But there is no doubt, like after the first one, whoever is, overseeing AEW or, Tony Khan and all this stuff, probably called him and was like, "Oh my God, that was the greatest tag team ever. When can we do it again?
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, you can sign them if you like." And I would imagine that's probably how it played out. Like they were like, "You go ahead. Wherever your program lands up, you don't have to worry about it. Just
Yep.
because not obviously, it's probably going to end up on a Discovery HBO or Discovery Warner Media, whatever it's called now,
Mm-hmm.
network,
Yeah.
right? You'd be foolish not to put ROH on one of those networks.
And
And
ultimately, I think the Honor Club becomes basically like the AEW network
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
they decide to call it.
yeah. I was so waiting for that to be like Tony
Oh,
Khan and come out and be like, "Look, join now. You can now watch all AEW programming on the Honor Club.
oh my
All your
God.
ROH is on the Honor Club." Yeah, there would be like, take my money, $10, $15. What do you want? What do you want? How much you want?
I would pay that. I would pay
Oh
that
yeah,
just to have all of
easy.
their material plus all of Ring of Honor's library.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
Bro, I would skip Monday nights and just watch Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then they should probably talk to New Japan and be like, "Hey, let's just do some weird trifecta:
Mm-hmm.
New Japan World and ROH Honor Club, and then AEW jump in there too."
Well, and that's the thing. Looking forward from this pay-per-view, like we don't know yet when Ring of Honor is going to be back on TV or pay-per-view. Most likely by Final Battle would be my guess, and I think that's September. But if not, if we go back and get to I don't remember their other pay-per-view names. I feel bad. If it doesn't happen until March of 23, Supercard of Honor, then it's very possible we could end up seeing, you know, them announce a network deal, announce a TV deal, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Branding wise, this pay per view spoke volumes for what Ring of Honor is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does paint a very clear picture as to what's available for them. And you've got stories now that you've opened the door for, like who's going to be Claudio's first challenger, who's going to, does Samoa Joe have to give Jay Lethal a rematch? Who can challenge FTR? All of these who's next questions is legit, and now you can basically sit there and start asking that question.
Mm-hmm. Now, so I will say though that if Dax's 8-year-old child fights like that, I don't want nothing to do with her.
Yeah, don't step to that kid. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
But I mean, ultimately, I do think the Briscoes are going to dethrone FTR.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think you'll probably get a third one. And that's when the Briscoes will dethrone them and FTR will go back doing, maybe they get to AEW tag team titles first.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? So they'll have all the belts. Maybe we
Mhm.
get lucky, Impact joins in. Who knows, right?
Wow.
And so they'll have the belts, and then they'll do the Briscoes will do to them what they did to the Briscoes the first match, right? Which was the storyline coming out of it. Oh, we wrestled Saturday afternoon, we wrestled Saturday night, we wrestled, and you caught us, after 5 matches when you've been sitting out for a week.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably how it'll play out. It'll be reversed, and FTR will have gone boom, 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 so many in a row that they'll get caught. Maybe in the surprise roll up, as Simon likes to say on Ups and Downs. I like that guy though. He's a funny dude. Throwing it out there, Simon. Corner like an up. So yeah. So that surprise roll up. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what'll happen. They'll just catch him at the wrong time.
It's interesting because the expedition of gold that the Hardys did was one thing, but now that FTR has literally just said, okay, well, we'll just take all the titles. Mm-hmm. We'll just do it. It's ours now.
Yeah, I mean, I really think though that they're missing the boat, right? Because you can legit make an argument for this, right? I mean, any company out there right now is missing the boat not to have their titles on FTR.
Yeah.
Like if I'm, honestly, even if I was like Triple H and I watched it, because he watched it, he's got to be kicking himself that team left the WWE. Although I do think they blossomed, they got bigger because of it. But Triple H was probably kicking himself, right? That Vince let them leave.
Oh, I'm sure he's pissed. Imagine, we're getting ready to transition into the Vince conversation before we get the Dynamite. Imagine you've left WWE at least for a while because you've had a heart problem. You've set them up for success, though. You built this brand that literally feeds superstars into your main brand.
Yes.
And
legit superstars.
You come back 6 months, 8 months later, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
Adam Cole,
listen,
Danielson,
I'm telling you, dude. I'm not shitting you because we talked about it. If there's anybody that'll do it, it's Triple H. If I saw that match Saturday, and I'm now head of, like I have the chance to pull this off, I am calling Tony Khan, and I'm like, look, let's work this out. I don't, let's figure this out. I am more than willing to drop the titles to them. on a surprise appearance.
Yep.
When can we get this done?
I think he would do it too because he understands what it means to share that kind of spotlight. There's
Yeah.
money to be made.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. It's all it is. It's dollar signs. You want your stocks to go up? Dollar signs.
Yeah.
You want to see more fans come to both shows? Boom, dollar sign. It's all about dollars.
Well, I mean,
And
he showed it back in the
yeah, go ahead.
day where he brought in legit stars
Yep.
and let them be who they were.
Hmm.
You know, he brought in Adam Cole. He brought in, Shinsuke, Samoa Joe, those that had already established themselves, but he let them be them. You know, you think about the best Shinsuke Nakamura matches in the WWE era were on NXT.
Yes.
Finn Balor, you know, like Finn Balor was a name, but if it wasn't for him and the Demon on NXT, you know, so you think about that and him willing to say, you know what, acknowledge different things. And he's the one that acknowledges people on Twitter and
Hmm.
all those things that they do good things.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
and broaden that out. Look at what he did with the Shield. He created the Shield. And then he sees, Seth Rollins slid down the card. Roman's successful, but Mox is gone. And Mox is how much bigger of a star now?
most people he signed are gone.
Yeah.
And
His entire creative structure is gone.
they wonder why he had a fucking heart attack.
Dude, that is absolutely beyond
Pardon
belief.
my French, sorry.
No, I think you're dead on. I think you're dead on. I think that, yeah, he may have been sick, but I think the stress of seeing his creation get torn to shit had to lend a hand in that.
I mean, these legit people you make. I mean, he created what was Bray Wyatt.
Yep. Yep.
You know, what would have been Bray Wyatt and
Him and
brought
Cody
him to the
Rhodes.
main roster.
Hmm.
And what happened? You know, and the fact that he was probably sitting there saying, "Hey, we should do this," and Vince is like, "Know your
Right.
place."
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
fact that Vince has surrounded himself with all his yes men all those years who are like, Vince, like, I think we should paint the title purple. That's a great idea.
Goddamn, pal.
Oh my God, that's awesome. You
I mean,
know?
Excuse me. Let me step away from this young lady.
could you imagine it though? Like literally, he made a deal with Tony, right?
Hmm.
I want these guys to come in. I want to go. Let's go back to the way it used to be in the 70s and 80s, where some of these guys just toured,
Hmm.
right? The Usos, are they still tag champs?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Usos beat up some jobber tag team.
Hmm.
Pull the Ricky Starks thing. You know what? We're not done. We've beaten everybody. Well, we're not done tonight. Bring on the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna spice it up. It's for the championship. Boom. FTR's music hits. There's not like an arena that's not gonna lose their ever loving shit.
Right.
I mean, if you did that on Raw or SmackDown, right? Which would be the appropriate thing to do, right?
Hmm.
You do it on Raw or SmackDown. As soon as the Twitter and the Facebook and the TikTok started rolling through, every stinking TV in the world is going to go bloop, up.
Right.
Right.
And
And go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say it would be the greatest. Like, so I said, Forbidden Door was huge, right? Massive. But now you got a guy that's open to the idea in Triple H. And this would, without a doubt, be the biggest moment in pro wrestling history, like ever. This would rival the Outsiders and the NWO just to have them show up and take the titles from the USO. You
Well,
don't
and
have to
the
do it
thing
long.
is, it's not hard. It's freaking it's wrestling. It's
Right.
rising tide raises all boats.
Right.
If you want to see your ratings go up, mix them up.
Yep.
If FTR showed up on Raw and beat the Usos for the belts, All you have to do is go, okay, the Usos head to Dynamite.
Right.
It's not hard to figure out because you're going to win one way or the other. You don't have to bury the competition. No, you
No.
embrace them.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing. You look at it. The guy who's in charge right now
Mhm.
is the main reason that the Hardys ever came back.
Yes.
If you think about it, like that was a Triple H decision. Triple H, like, hey, these guys are really hot right now on the indie circuit. We need to bring them. We need to capitalize on it. And what happened? They came in phenomenal, right? But as soon as the Stooges got hold of the broken Matt Hardy, turned him from what he was to stupid. And if you think about it, right now, there's really nothing going head to head, right? I mean, you got NXT on there, but really at this point, NXT needs to die and come back as the old NXT. You
Right.
know, out of the ashes comes, but
See, this is why you need to be doing voiceover work because that's pretty good.
but like you could legit, like Brian said, you call Tony, you have FTR come out, do that, and then you could have like Triple H and Tony Khan do this back and forth jab at each other on the shows, and then one of them standing in the ring on either Dynamite or like you say FTR shows up on Raw or SmackDown. Well, then what happens is Tony Khan's in the ring talking about how his team got the gold and there's nothing you can do about it on Dynamite. Then you hit the song All About the Game on Dynamite, and you have Triple H on Dynamite, which again, people are flipping back and forth, and all you're doing is buying ratings for yourselves.
Yeah.
Padding your pockets for the advertising revenue,
And I'm telling you, FTR, you give them the title, right? And you give them a legit run up into WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You give them a main event of night one, and then you make the decision to take the titles off of them to a legit tag team.
Yep.
Right? It's a win-win.
Plus, I mean, you can do the same on AEW TV or pay-per-view. You can do the same thing and get the same results. It's the one thing that always troubled me about what, as Brian would call the bobbleheads, would support Vince for was that he didn't have to acknowledge the competition. And I think it's the exact opposite.
Yes.
You not only do you acknowledge them, you openly talk about them. You
Yes.
openly say, "Hey, when was Raw at its finest? When they made fun of Nitro specifically. When
Yep.
was Nitro at its finest? When Bischoff called out Vince McMahon.
Wanted to fight him on a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Well,
And to that point, and then I'll turn it over to you, Rob. I think that's who I heard.
yeah.
To that point, Tony Khan putting on Twitter, "I'm now the longest reigning CEO in professional wrestling. Thank you to you fans." Freaking brilliant. And for anybody that says Bischoff wouldn't have did the same thing in the heyday, they're full of shit or they're lying. Because there's absolutely no doubt in my mind Bischoff would have been like, "Oh yeah, that's blood in the water." You
Right.
got to do.
Right. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, shots fired.
Right. Exactly. That's all that is. It's a dig.
Right. But then it's like, if you go back, like not openly acknowledging the competition is what kills your company.
Correct.
Look at WCW. If WCW back in the day, like I've said this several times on the show, if WCW, when DX showed up at Hampton Coliseum or Norfolk Scope, if WCW would have said, come on in,
Yep.
you would have taken all the thing away. If WWE, when the Elite showed up and stood outside the arena, if WWE would have said, come on in, come in. Oh, look, hey guys, I want y'all to know the Elite, supposed Elite, are outside. Let's see how elite they are.
Yep.
You would have killed some of the buzz they had. But you didn't, because everybody circled the wagons and go, oh no, we're the only act in town. Well, guess what? Unless you're an absolute moron bobblehead, you're not the only act in town.
And on top of that, they fired Jimmy Jacobs because Jacobs supposedly was friends with them.
Well, yeah,
Meanwhile, go ahead.
I've said it before, right? The one thing about the WWE that really pisses me off is they don't acknowledge anybody else. They truly think they are the only act in town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Bradshaw said that about AJ, that it didn't matter what he did anywhere else. He's never won the big one in the WWE or whatever it was. Are you out your mind, Bradshaw? Like, AJ is a more accomplished world champion than you'll ever be. And you literally you slap AJ's face, and then you slap the fans' face who know different. Why? Everybody knows there's other companies. Everybody knows AJ's career path. Acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. ROH did it. I'm pretty sure they did it the other night. Talking about the WWE. AEW does it.
Mm-hmm.
New Japan does it. Impact does it. Everybody does it except the WWE. And hopefully now the individuals at the top are going to smarten up. This is the wave of the future. This is what the fans see. Let me get in on it and let's make some money.
And I would almost, to what Brian said, I would almost, at this point in the game, do the surprise on AEW.
Yeah.
You know, I would almost have a WWE star show up on AEW and be like, what you got? You know? I mean, either way you do it, it's going to blow the roof off the wrestling world.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are going to burn all their WWE gear the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect time to do an actual war, right? New Japan gave us a pay-per-view, which was great. But let's actually do a invasion angle that is done correctly with two actual competing companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do this legit. We have smart people that are in charge of both places now. Let's do something we've never truly seen before.
Yeah.
And it works both ways. We see that with Cody Rhodes. You know, Cody left, came back, and people still like, oh my God. So it can work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you saw the pop of Cody just showing up at WrestleMania. You know, imagine, like Brian said, if you have any of the AEW guys, imagine Kenny Omega wrestle like Royal Rumble number 30. And now we're in a world where that might actually, you know, you could see a true mystery person in the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying now that you think it could, you know?
And now I can hope and pray it does.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. There's actually a reason for you to say, you know, maybe.
Right.
Until we see some other names of people getting fired from WWE or leaving, you know?
No,
well, Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, I think right now the only one that truly matters is Triple H. I think Stephanie will see the dollar signs behind something like that. And again, as long as the WWE benefits in some way and isn't made to look foolish, I think Stephanie and Triple H are probably smart enough to be like, let's do it.
Because I think you see the give and take. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we might lose this match, but we're going to pay out in the end. Sorry, Stan, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. So let's look at how we got here. You know, all the way to now, we've been talking about the possibilities, and man, it is so cool. So how did we get here? Well, Vince McMahon is under investigation, and so is John Laurinaitis. We know that.
He couldn't keep his thing in his pants. That's what happened. That's why we're here.
Today, it gets even bigger. Today, the WWE corporate team provides a new financial statement advising that Vince McMahon paid $14.6 million not out of his pocket, out of the company's pocket.
Oh.
So, the retirement that was announced conveniently on Friday just after the stock market had closed. Not a stupid move, because their stock went up 8% today with the announcement of Triple H taking over creative. That's apparently what's being credited with the move.
I'd buy stock if I had money.
If I could do it now, I would do it. Not before he was removed. But with the announcement that 14.6 million came out of the WWE's pocket, Vince McMahon was essentially forced to, hey, you're not only retiring, but you are no longer on the board of directors. So for those fans and those people that were thinking they were so business savvy and saying that Vince could always hold a meeting and vote himself back in charge, no, he can't. Vince McMahon is no longer on the board of directors. He may hold a lot of shares, and he does. He holds, I want to say, like 80%. But as long as this company is publicly traded, and as long as he's not allowed on the board of directors, Vince McMahon is essentially powerless.
Well, the problem is, I'm pretty sure that's what you call embezzlement.
Exactly. Which is,
Felony.
oh, yes, which is the other part of the Wall Street Journal's announcement today that SEC and federal prosecutors have advised about multiple investigations. So, yes, Vince, you did dodge a bullet with the steroid scandal, but you're not dodging this one because this is a lot more money and this is a lot more people that were victimized. I don't see Vince McMahon getting clear of this. Unfortunately, I see Vince McMahon probably declining health wise very quickly. And unfortunately, this is probably the end of a lot of those things that he was doing. Because if he can't pay for all the medicine that he was taking, and if you don't think Vince McMahon was on something, you got a lot of work to do.
Well, I
Well,
also
let's
see.
not get crazy.
Well, I see this as those people that business is life, work is life, right?
Right.
And they work, and then they die short. And I'm not wishing that on anybody, but I'm saying, as man
No.
as involved as he was, for him to be at home on the sidelines, not of his wish. He didn't retire because he wanted to. He retired because the board said, "You go, or we're going to send you gone."
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's because this company, because he has said it, the company is his life. I mean, hell, his wife walked and he didn't care. Well, I mean, he was paying people to. Never mind. Anyway, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, that's what it worries you. Like, not it doesn't worry me, but it's just, that's the man right there. His life is this company.
Well, let's not get crazy, y'all. Let's not talk death or nothing.
Well, here's the thing, and I think it's more to Rob's point than anything else. I'm not saying that it's a sure thing. I guess you're right there. I can't really put it like that. But the bottom line is, I think that there's a lot of things that were going to come to light here, and unfortunately, I just think it's really going to eliminate him from really any opportunity to ever return from this out of anything but historical recognition.
Well, but however, let's back the truck up there about that. Right? So we have effectively erased other people out of existence for certain things, right? I'm not just talking Benoit, there are others.
Right.
So why does he still get to profit from his past glories? Shouldn't he be erased also?
That's a
He should
good
be
question.
canceled.
That is a good question, and I think that is where the importance of it being mainstream media rather than wrestling media reporting this is huge. It had to be somebody like the Wall Street Journal to report this. Otherwise, it would have been buried like they've done so many other stories in wrestling history. So with this now, you really don't have much choice, do you? How long it
But
takes, I have no idea. But to me, it seems like you don't really have much choice.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I guess, was it Peacock or should probably start erasing people off that show?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens next. We know John Laurinaitis is gone as well. And the leading story coming out of today's announcement is that Kevin Dunn is most likely next. Thank God. Let's get rid of the entire old guard, please. Let's just do that. Let's just wash them all away.
Yeah, and you know what's probably going to wind up happening is the further this goes, you're going to find more.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Ashley Massaro was on record multiple times stating that she felt like Vince McMahon was propositioning her. She did multiple interviews before she passed, including conversations with Rene Dupree and her friend Paul London, where she basically stated what Vince was attempting to do. And they are now going public with it again on their podcasts and other interviews. So where there's smoke, there's fire. There's from the 80s, Rita Chatterton, and I don't know the entirety of the story, only to say that it was essentially the same basic thing that Massaro stated. Joy Giovanni is another name that's been listed. These are the names that have been made public, not the ones that have signed NDAs. If I had that information, I still wouldn't say it publicly because obviously they're trying to stay private. But the people that have been public about it, that in and of itself should speak volumes, not to mention the fact that Maria Kanellis has also asserted that this has happened with her too.
Yeah, it's not over. This is going to
No.
get really bad really fast.
Well, you can't tell me like y'all said. I mean, there's no way in hell that it's only 4 people
Right.
at decades apart.
Well, and
It's
14.6
just
million is only what they found.
right.
Well, yeah.
And the people the ones that didn't have clout to make him pay, the
Well,
ones that were not, they didn't have the clout behind them and stuff to get him to pay anything. The ones that, shut up and just did what they did and didn't, and then now are sitting back going, mother.
no, no,
So,
no.
Yep.
Yeah, but I would imagine like the interesting thing here is you don't have to be smart to realize that if that occurred, you have Vince over a barrel, right? That is clearly sexual harassment in the most grievous forms.
what in the world is she wearing?
And so you really have Vince over a barrel. So if he does this, he's going to pay, like somehow, some way, whether you're going to get a promotion or whatever.
I think ultimately
So,
he's going to have to dump his stock and pay them.
well,
They'll take him to civil suit, and he'll lose in damages.
it wouldn't be the first time somebody that supposedly owns a company or a sports team or whatever has had to sell.
Well, I mean, look at Papa John's.
Yep.
I mean, he owned Papa John's and they voted him out.
Yep.
Cincinnati Reds,
The Houston Rockets.
Yeah, there's been plenty of them.
The owner of the Lakers.
I mean, thing is, like Brian said, he's going to devise this thing, but like I was saying, it's only the tip of the iceberg. Like
Yeah.
the ones they have here, and it's going to be one of those that the WWE is going to have the corporation's going to have to come to an agreement to be like, listen, this is what we'll do if you all just agree to like go after him and not us because he's gone, he's not here anymore.
Yeah, but as big as this thing's probably going to get, because again, the feds are probably still kind of miffed that they missed them the first go round.
Oh yeah, and if you don't think that they hold a grudge for that,
Yeah,
trust me.
like
Look at OJ.
Yeah, I'm sure though they are like, I want to see the books from 2010. I want to see the books from 2000. I want to see the books from 95. I want to, you know what I'm saying? They're going to probably go back all the way to the beginning.
You know who the happiest people are right now? Forensic accounters.
Yeah.
because there's a whole bunch of forensic accountants that just got contracted with the federal government.
Well, and there's a lot of financials they're going to have to dive through. So there's a lot of work that's got to be done. I mean, and to your point, yeah, we are probably barely scratching the surface of what has been done. And hey, for a while it was completely unchecked. Not to say that it was right that it happened, but with no one watching him, of course he's going to do it.
When you're the chairman of the board and you have the bank account and the checkbook, and nobody says anything because you're Vince McMahon.
Right.
And see, then you're also probably going to find out those individuals that somebody else did it to, and he paid to cover up their issues.
Because there's a reason a couple of the other of his cronies have also taken leave of absences and left suddenly. We've seen that with other organizations like the Washington football team. You know, like there were several people in their front office that just quit. Like the guy who always led their broadcasts, and his name got dropped in the whole thing when it first broke. So we're going to see it.
So, it's obvious that the energy in WWE is in flux. There's a lot of transition. There's a lot of positivity coming out of all of this. So it's not to say that it's all negative. We know Triple H has taken over creative and talent relations. We know Stephanie McMahon is co-CEO with Nick Khan. Not Tony, but Nick.
Tony's cousin.
Yeah, probably.
It's all been a work from the beginning.
The Khans are taking over. All I can tell you is this. I mean, I can say that this is probably the first time in a long time that there's actual excitement for what could be.
That's the first time I've seen Alexa Bliss come to the ring smiling for the longest time.
That's true. From Fightful Select, we get a report here. Triple H held a talent meeting before Raw, essentially advising the talent that, hey, they know that there was some transparency that was lacking under the previous regime. He said he wants open lines of communication between himself and the talent. Waiting for hours for the opportunity to maybe speak to Vince McMahon had become commonplace in recent years, with FaceTime with him dwindling, and he wants that to change. He also wants it to be known that the workplace should be fun. I think that's a pretty strong statement from a guy that just wants to see things turn around, and I think we'll see that turn around pretty quick. What happens is probably not going to be more evident than after SummerSlam. We're probably going to see them close the loop on a lot of things this weekend.
Right. And that's what I was saying in the C2C chat was I don't see them pulling the plug and all of a sudden changing SummerSlam a week into it, week before. They're going to follow the stories as they do. And then you'll see Monday and Tuesday and third and Friday, whenever the hell SmackDown is. That's when you'll start seeing them start putting the pieces together. Like I don't like Austin Theory. Never have. And I could see them doing an angle where maybe they bring out, Bobby Lashley or, someone else and say, all right, you think you're big and bad? Put up the briefcase, and then, oh, lo and behold, he loses it. And now somebody else, the person they want to have, the Money in the Bank has it.
So from there, we look at this past week's Dynamite, kind of a 50,000 feet overview. Brody King again squashes Darby Allin. Blackpool Combat Club squashes the Best Friends.
Hey, listen, time out. I think you two had a little homework to do.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We got about 14 minutes. So that's about 7 minutes apiece. All right. And I want to hear from you two. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay. Rob, the question from last week was simple. Would the four
horsemen... paying attention.
Would the Four Horsemen and Roddy Piper been as big? Excuse me, let me fix that. Would it have been as big of a deal if Roddy Piper had joined the original iteration of the Four Horsemen in the NWA? That was
and who gets left out?
And who gets left out? That's a
Yeah.
bigger part.
Mm.
You want to think on it, and I'll take the first.
I mean, it's not. I mean, thinking for me is not like my strong suit. So,
Okay, go for
filtering things are not my strong suit.
it.
Ask everybody. They're like, "Oh, I wish you had a filter." I would say that he built his career being that villain that said whatever he wanted to get the heat,
hmm
um, and moved from territory to territory doing just that. But he also backed it up. So I kind of feel like if he was in the original Four Horsemen, it would have had a huge impact because of the star power that he already had. You know what I mean?
hmm
Um, I think you don't have the Horsemen unless you have Ole, you know, but he could definitely have taken that Barry Windham, Lex Luger, Ole role.
No. Yeah, the first group.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of going in, I would say originally he would replace Tully.
Hmm.
Because Ole and Arn, you know, and Ric Flair, obviously you can't replace Ric Flair,
hmm
but Roddy Piper with that mouth at that time was damn close to replace Ric Flair. But I would say Tully.
Wow. When you consider what the Horsemen were before Roddy Piper was even part of this question, it's hard to really pick it apart, especially like who you would remove from the original set. I actually would say that if it's Roddy Piper, Ric Flair in the Four Horsemen together, I would immediately get rid of Ole Anderson. Recognizing Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, knowing their potential, that's the benefit of knowing what we know now. Knowing the potential for them as a tag team, Piper and Flair could constantly have a game of one-upsmanship on the microphone, in the ring. The feuds between, and ultimately what would lead to, an iconic, almost like Flair Sting kind of situation where Piper and Flair ultimately have the feud to end all feuds, so to speak. Um, Piper only soars into the stratosphere. Piper ultimately wins a world championship out of that. Ric Flair continues his dominance and maybe even goes past the 17 world championships. Um, Simply because of that feud, because of how many times they could trade the title back and forth. Because we all know that Flair ultimately was going to feud and did with Ole Anderson and even later with Arn for a brief amount of time. Lex Luger, Barry Windham, and so on. So, yeah, I'd say it's bigger, and I'd say that Piper only gets to a bigger status faster.
Hmm. So, but you both think that it probably would have been the Horseman would have been a bigger deal with him
Yes.
in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
Well, it was my question.
Like,
I'm not trampling on history like you two little Jezebels.
oh, so you don't think it would have?
No,
I'm going to ask the
I'm not,
question, but I'm not. It's not good enough for me to answer.
I'm
Right,
not
right.
saying that. I'm just saying it was my hypothetical question. And I just wanted to hear y'all's thoughts on it.
So Brian's basically, and I'll take your answer off the air.
No,
You're
no,
that
no, no,
caller.
I'll
no.
see your question and give you no response.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was never meant for me. It was for you two to do homework.
Oh, So you didn't do any homework for that? You just boom right off the dome.
What did I? No, I thought of the question that day. Like literally, again, I saw the what was it? Facebook. Yeah, I think it was Facebook where they were doing not early, but I'd say probably it was probably what did Flair tell Harley? It was the summer of Flair or something. He said he was going to chase him all summer long. So I would imagine it was probably going into his third championship because let's see, he beat Harley. If I remember right, Harley, Dusty, and then
Oh yeah,
Harley
that was
again.
the Flair for the gold summer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I'm pretty sure this is ultimately leading into the dog collar match.
Mm-hmm.
So it's before that stuff, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but again, yeah, they're like, they're just kind of standing there with Cottle, and they're talking a little bit, and both of them are kind of good guys, and hey, I'm here with my best friend type of thing, and then it dawned on me, I said, well, if they were that good of friends, why wasn't Piper a horseman?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure he does leave shortly after the dog collar match, but
Mm-hmm.
what if Piper had stayed and became a horseman? How big would it have gotten? And then again, the question is, you have to ask who gets left behind.
Hmm.
I am kind of like Rob. I think Tully would be the odd man out.
Yes.
To a point, only to a point, because the Horsemen did kind of do the whole associate thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have easily kept Tully as an associate, which then would have kept JJ as the mouthpiece. So you could have played out a lot of the storylines. Could have still played out. But again, you would have had Piper, which ultimately probably would have sent one of the storylines nuclear to the point that faction could have rivaled Hogan. Not saying that the rock and wrestling cartoon and type stuff, but I think Piper and Flair together for any length of time
Mm-hmm.
probably would have set the NWA like just literally cliff diving. Like they wouldn't have known what to do. They would have been Thelma
Yeah.
and Louise in this thing,
Yeah.
you go, we go type stuff.
Well, and that's why I think that because ultimately it becomes Flair versus Piper,
Right.
and come on, Flair versus Piper in the '90s was a cool concept. It was a cool idea. Remember, I Scare Flair when
Mm-hmm.
Flair first got the WWF. That was good stuff. But what could have happened in the '80s?
80s.
Holy
Yes.
shit! That's
Yes.
Piper saying you don't throw rocks at a man holding a machine gun. That's Piper saying, here, monkey man, want to climb on trees. That's Piper that we know that we're
Yeah.
like, oh shit,
Chew like
that's
a coconut.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
because
damn.
for all the antics in the WWE or F at the time, whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
I think the Crockett's, because again, you got to remember this kind of formed naturally, right?
Yeah.
It starts with the whole Arn Anderson showing up, and then he's an Anderson, he's with Ole, and then all of a sudden, well, Flair's at Cousins, which brings him into the mix, and then Tully's just kind of like, hey guys, they told me we got to cut an interview, and Arn goes out and says, not since the Horsemen of the Apocalypse have four, whatever, right? But God, I mean, think about it. If Piper was there, the faction itself could have literally like rivaled anything out of New York.
Wow. So I know we've only got a couple minutes left here on the Wikipedia for the Four Horsemen because I was looking up the different members. At the bottom, it says for the future. In 2022, Arn Anderson secured the copyrights to the Four Horsemen name and images. A tag team consisting of his son, Brock Anderson, and Brian Pillman Jr., son of late Horseman Brian Pillman, representing the Four Horsemen, was announced to wrestle at Jim Crockett Promotions event Ric Flair's last match, with
Yep.
Arn Anderson managing and signaling a possible full-time return of the faction.
Mm-hmm. And again, that's
Damn it.
so yeah. But think about it, right? So they don't necessarily have to spearhead anything right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they can form a faction and just get enough exposure to where they could quietly swipe tag team gold, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you know you already have an established tag team. You don't quite know how this will play out. You know, maybe they are the tag team, and you get who knows how this plays out. But and again, it's not for now. It's let's see what happens 6 months down the road.
Who leads that potential new Four Horsemen?
Well, with them two, it'd have to be two young guys. You know what I'm saying? Somebody,
MJF.
maybe somebody that can talk on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's got world title potential.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they could just run this through the indies. They don't necessarily have to put it on AEW.
Very true.
They can run through the indies until this builds up enough momentum that then they show up at AEW. Then the whole world's like, oh crap, who let the Horsemen are here.
There's a lot of potential there. Very, very exciting potential.
Yeah, especially if Brock wrestles anything like his dad.
Yeah, if he picks up on any of his mannerisms and technique, there's
Yeah.
there's a big future for him. Pillman Jr., I think, has a big future too. I think he's just scratching the surface of what he's got. Hey, we're coming up on it. You can catch up with Rob at Rob Hefner C2C on Twitter. Catch up with Brian at Vlad Dragul C2C. That's VLADDRAGOOL C2C. And catch up with me at Stan Grubb. The show is at C2C Radio Show on Twitter and c2cradioshow.com. Please make sure you check out our sponsors, W Energy Drink. That's DUBBY.GG. Use the promo code of C2C Radio. Get yourself 10% off and get some energy into your system.
Holla,
As a
holla.
matter of fact, get yourself some Beach and Peach, Mango White Peach Cooler. Get it today with coupon code of C2C Radio.
And stay away from the Los Calientes Roja Pringles.
That sounds like something that'll kill an O-ring.
Oh, it hurts. Yeah. They burn. Yeah, they burn.
This weekend, we got Ric Flair's last match. Go to RicFlairsLastMatch.com to get a load of that huge card. We ran out of time before we could really delve through it, but damn, that's going to be a hell of a show. You got SummerSlam, of course, on Saturday, and Dynamite this coming week. Bryan Danielson is back. Tons to go through. We will see you next time right here on C2CRadioshow.com. Thanks again for listening, everybody. We're out of here.
My name is Stan. I'm dressed like a woman.
What the hell?
Watch, they'll have fixed it now, and we'll be running over like 5 minutes.
We've got 35 seconds still. That's
You'll
the only
get there.
thing.
Oh, there it is.
That's the only thing I don't like about the setup is that it cuts us off at a hard 120. Or
Yeah, well, now you know. So we just have work around it.
Give us
Deuces.
time
though.
to shut up.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.